This is the second Praxis wet bench. So let's get started. Now, since I've already done one of these before, it should be fairly easy. And I've got the other one kind of out in the distance there so I can kind of look at it. Is that the same on both sides? Oh, that might be the same on both sides. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. And if I remember correctly, the instructions that I got with this one were actually the wrong instructions. I believe they sent me the instructions for the previous, the older version of the Praxis wet bench. Okay. So, oh yeah, that's the bottom. Okay. So then this, if I can remember how to do it right. Okay. And I already, well, that's easy to figure out. Let's see how I had it over here. It looks like the okay, it looks like the short ones are, oh yeah, it looks like I did have it right. Okay. Probably going to end up using the wrong stuff, like I said, because they, oh, okay, there we go. There we go. It's like, that didn't seem right. And I was like, oh, that's how you do it. So, as I said, this is the second Praxis wet bench, and I may end up going with a third at some point. My thought on it was that I wanted one as a, let's call it, not super long term. We're not saying a permanent build long term, but I wanted a long term one. We'll call it a monthly test rig. So for stuff like the X79 build that I've been working on for the last month or so, basically since I got the first Praxis, ooh, what's going on here? Okay. So yeah, I've had the X79 going ever since I did the first Praxis build. And so I kind of want something for that, but then I also want something for stuff that I do just more of a weekly, but then I also want one for kind of a daily as well. Okay. So I'll show you guys how this works, how these kind of slot together when I do the other side. It's not quite tool-free, but you don't really need anything particularly complex either. I do wish it were just a little bit more rigid. It's almost rigid enough, but it could use a slight bit more rigidity. So the way that this works is that this kind of tab, this long tab here, okay, kind of see it that sticks out there. That actually, and it took me a minute to realize this, it folds over. So you stick it in. So this passes through the handle. See how that goes? So then it kind of notches in there. Oopsie. Don't want to do that, but that's okay. Try to show you guys how you actually put it together. So I would recommend loosely screwing it together initially, and then once you have all 4 screws in place, then tighten the screws. Otherwise, you're going to have it's going to be just a little bit off kilter. So there's one in the front, one in the back, and then 2 of them kind of in the center here. Waiting for an Amazon delivery that I'm pretty sure the Amazon driver is an idiot and marked that they couldn't get into my address even though there is no snow on the road by my house, because there is some snow, but I saw the guy on the thing. He was close. There is no snow or any other impediment blocking them from accessing. I think they're just being lazy. Pretty sure I'm going to get a message here like 3 hours after I sat around waiting for them with oh, we'll deliver it tomorrow. I ordered a KVM switch, a fairly high-end DisplayPort one, and more Arctic MX4 thermal compound, like the biggest syringe of Arctic MX4 thermal compound that you can buy, like 45 grams, which, to give you an idea of how big that is, the tiny little ones that normally come, like if you buy a heatsink or something like that, those little syringes that they come with are usually like 2 grams or 4 grams at most. So if that gives you an idea of just how big 45 is. Okay, and then this one goes on the back. I said it when I did when I assembled the other one of these. I really wish there was a way. So this thing is intended for, this one is intended for an internal 240 millimeter, or 240 or 280. It'll take either one. But I really wish there was a way to get a AIO, not just a radiator, but an actual AIO inside here. I suspect they would have to do a custom AIO, something specifically made for this case, but because you would need an extra long set of tubes to go with it, but so then the way that this works is you put a screw here, screw here, screw here, screw here, and then this has a larger place for the head to go through, and then it drops onto there. So if you watch, and then that just kind of notches into place. And then you screw this in place. That does make it so that a lot of these parts are really modular, which is part of the reason I bought this thing. So I tighten them real good. And then this sits on top. And the screws for this work the exact same way. So you screw, let's see. Is it the further one? Yeah, it is. Okay, so you put a screw in, bam, like that. Then another one here. Now the crazy thing is, once you get this all tightened down, it's still a little bit shaky. It's not bad enough to matter. I wish there was a way for them to make it a little better braced so it didn't do that. It's not really a big deal. It's just, it's one of those, it's a fairly expensive setup, so nicer is always better. Okay, so now once that's in place, obviously none of my complaints, keeping in mind, once you order this, once you pay shipping, taxes, everything, it gets pretty close to $300. So I have no complaints about this thing severe enough for me to not be willing to purchase a second one. So anytime you hear me with minor gripes, just keep in mind I bought a second one. So, and I'm considering a third. I'm just finding that with the amount of hardware I'm working with, trying to build systems with the machines or with the hardware just isn't realistic. That was my original plan, and I was going to have like 7 or 8 full builds just sitting there that I could grab. But the other problem with that was that the way this works is it faces the hardware out at you. And so that makes it so that you can easily see it and even do, for example, like video. So I can do videos where you see those really slow theatrical or cinematic zoom ins that I do. I can do that with the hardware now. And I can do it with video cards while they're powered on. So you can actually see all of the yeah. This guy didn't even try to deliver. I'm really annoyed. And I know why he did it, because he was freaking lazy. That really annoys me. They're going to try to claim that they were blocked by snow or ice or something, and they weren't. I double checked. The roads were completely clear. These guys were easily able to access my property. One of them even put, cannot access property. I was like, what are you talking about? I looked outside. There was literally no snow or anything blocking my driveway. Kind of annoyed, because I ordered those things for a specific purpose. Okay, so now the way that this does these is, let's see if you can, slightly less than ideal. So the thing with these is that, so where's the other component? There they are. Okay, so the pegs that your motherboard goes on, this is the only real, actual, honest-to-God complaint that I have that actually needs to be addressed. I doubt Praxis or PrimoChill will watch this, but if they do, so the problem with these is that, let me see here. Okay, so it should be, this. Okay, so this comes up. So watch this. So you see that? So can you see that there? I'm pretty sure you can. Okay, so right there. And then this screws in. The problem is that it comes up so high. See how big that is? That comes up so high that it makes it so that your GPU makes contact with the peg if you have a GPU in a slot here, which part of the reason I bought this was for multi-GPU configurations, and I'm specifically buying motherboards that have PLX switches in them that allow me to have GPU, 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 GPU. But it's the same thing where your normal GPU would be there as well. I think what I may end up doing, let's do something else here. See, the part of the problem too is that these standoffs are plastic. And what that means is that I don't really want to have, let's see if I have any regular standoffs that I can use. So obviously what you don't want is you don't want to have standoffs. Okay, so if I have to screw in a bunch of times, it'll eventually wear out the threads. There's no possible way that I believe that these plastic standoffs won't eventually wear out. And who knows how long the things will be available for. Let's see if I have... Oops, no, that one wasn't long enough anyway. That one's too long. That one's not long enough. Somehow, I get the impression that I'm only going to have too long or not long enough. Let's see here. Because they need to be the same size. Let's try this. I wonder if... You know, I think I might have an idea here. I think two... Sometimes you got to get creative on this stuff. Okay, this might work. Is that the right? No, that's two. So we need two of these shorter ones. I think two of these shorter ones might do the trick. Yes. Okay, so that is the perfect height. So then what we do is we use, let's see here. You know, I wonder if, let's see, do I have, this is one of the reasons why you want to keep just about everything. Ooh, you know what? I'm actually thinking that some of my liquid cooler related parts might actually do the trick here. So this is why you want to keep basically everything that you ever come into contact with as far as parts are concerned, because you never know when you're going to need something that you didn't even think about before, but then suddenly, oh, that's really useful. I never thought of that. Okay. So let's see if... It's probably a long shot, but let's see. You're close. we're just gonna... So I'd like to have the ability to screw them down. But no, as long as I can... Yeah, that's close enough. So then what we do is we reverse it. So let's see what size these are. There's two different screw sizes that you work with when you deal with this kind of stuff. Okay, so what we're going to do... Okay, yeah, that's going to work. Okay, so instead of using their thingy for these back ones, we're going to just do this. And this is going to make a peg that's the exact same height as theirs. Let's see here. Do I have... And what's going to happen if I don't do this is that, as I said, some of the GPUs I have found actually get interfered with by the height of the pegs that they included. Okay, so that worked. So then the motherboard will just set right on top there, and you'll only have this tiny little peg sticking out instead of a really long one that comes out like that far. So then we're going to do the same thing with, now that I know how to do it, with a second one. So these are apparently double height. These are exactly double height is what they are. Oh, come on. Finding two of them with the same threading size appears to be a problem. Anyone gonna fit? No? That's actually the one I want. Okay, those two fit. This one will fit a motherboard perfectly. But, well, no, we gotta... Oh, that's not gonna work. Okay, there we go. Because they need to be, I mean, like, really close to the same size as the rest of them. At least if you don't want the motherboard to be out of whack anyway. Okay, I think I did that right again. So let's just make sure before we do it that these are the right screw size. Ooh, it's not the right screw size. That's not good. So much for that. So that's not going to work. Try another one. Now this is the thing with these, is that for a device, or not a device, but like a product like this, you do got to do some customizing for your own needs. I wouldn't have even thought to do this. I didn't think to do this the first time. This is the second one, the second build, so obviously I'll probably eventually, shall we say, retrofit the other one once I get this one all set up the way I want. The other thing I'm not sure of is whether or not I have a power supply that'll do what I want. It looks like I may need a 1600 watt power supply to make this work the way I want it to work. Because I want one of these where I can do like 4-way SLI, and I believe a 1600 watt is the only way I can make it work. Okay, so that works perfectly. And then, so the rest of them, though, we're going to do them the way they were made to be done. Because the rest of them are fine. It was just those two locations had issues with GPUs popping up higher than, or the peg part blocked some GPUs. I believe the one that I had the biggest problem with was there was something about the design on the reference edition Titan X 12 gig. The version of the Titan based on the 980 Ti, or similar tech to the 980 Ti. That particular Titan didn't get along particularly well with the way that they had these by default. I'm almost thinking doing, well, I was thinking maybe do another one on this and that, but I don't think I had any issues with those. So those I'm just going to leave them as is. I'll modify them later if I need to. So same thing. Yeah, and there was just no way for me to... So I'm thinking if I can get some sort of something that'll screw down over that, I may put screws on those ones for the purpose of holding the motherboard in place, because I have had some issues with the motherboard holding in place. I also don't like the way they have that set up on here, though, because the things that screw down over this are metal, and they're a little bit bigger around, and I don't really like having metal directly on the board like that. I'm not a fan. Okay. So I'm not going to do parts installation on this video. This video is going to be part 1 of 2. The second part of the video will be the actual system build. This video is just going to be assembly of the case. And then I'll probably also have one big master video, which you might be watching that big master video. I doubt anyone's going to really want to watch the 2-hour version, though. How long are we so far? 30 minutes in, so... Okay, let's see here. I think technically maybe you're supposed to do this part before you put this on, but it doesn't really matter. It's not that hard to do. Now, the interesting thing here, too, is that you guys can actually see what I'm doing. And that was part of the problem with the way it was before, or the way I did stuff before without these, is that you couldn't really see what I was doing. And so I'm hoping that this will let me get the camera pointed at the parts a little more effectively. Yeah, PrimoChill, if you see this, make these shorter. It's cool with how much room they have for the board to slot down over it, but it's a lot big. They should be about half the height that they are, because they do interfere with some devices. I don't know. Maybe maybe I won't order 1600 watt. Maybe I'll just content myself with 3-way SLI. 4-way SLI is kind of stupid. It doesn't really, it's like, it's cool. It looks cool having GPU, GPU, but it doesn't actually scale very well. And so it doesn't really, like, there's no point to doing it other than flex factor, you know? Because back then, you couldn't buy a single, like, $5,000 video card, right? So you had to go buy, if you really wanted to flex, you had to go buy 4 Titans that were $1,000 each, and then you had $4,000 worth of GPUs. Okay, so let's see. So if I remember right, okay, so on the other one, the power supply sits right here. Actually, you know what? I'm kind of tempted to just go grab the power supply and put that in as part of it. Let's do that. So we're going to use, for now at least, this 1300 watt EVGA G2. And let's see here. I remember, oh yeah, okay, it's that one. So the way that this works is that oh, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, okay. They packaged it a little different than I was expecting. So the way that this works is that this end goes over the front. And I am really tempted to put some screw holes in place here. I didn't on the last one. Let's do this. Let's take all our PSU cables off just to make life a little easier. So we're going to have the PSU cables facing outward. Let's see here. So this, I guess I should have, maybe I should have done this first, but this screws to the top or the bottom, however you want to say it. Actually, you know what? Let's pull this top piece off. I didn't do this on the other one, but let's do it on this one. It's actually, getting this thing fully built and set up is actually more difficult than you might think. I think I saw somewhere that suggested 15 minutes or something, and I'm like, no, this is not a 15-minute build. Okay, so take that off for now. And then Looks like it uses, yeah, it uses the same large of those. So the back of your power supply, let's see, how did I want to do this? I want it the other way. Because I want the fan grabbing air from below. So you screw this. You screw this onto your power supply. See if I can get that out of our way. So this frame, it's kind of like a lot of cases that you see that on. You see that on a lot of cases where they have a frame that screws onto the power supply, which I'm not a fan of that for cases, but for this application, it's fine. I'm missing some screws. Okay. I guess you'll work. And then this will screw to the underside of this part. And I'm thinking that I want strange. That is bigger. I wonder if they have, darn it. Okay, so they are lined up the same. Yeah, so I'm thinking we're going to drill and it's funny because it actually even has two little drill spots almost, like two little divots in there. So let's see if I can do this. Well, that was not good. I'm an idiot. That's fixable though, so it's okay. I accidentally, I wasn't even thinking. I accidentally drilled one of the PCIe things, but that's okay. The problem is you have to press fairly hard on here. So then it goes through, but damn it, same thing again. That time I missed though, so we're good. So then to fix what I did on that other one, it didn't actually damage the pins. It just damaged the little plastic housing. So all you got to do is grab a, like a mini flathead or something and put that in and bend them back. It just kind of bent them. When the drill bit went through, it just bent them out of place a little bit. So now all you got to do is just bend them back in place. It's not, if it did what I think it did, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, the way that this is set up, yeah, we need a flathead to do this. Kind of not a process I was expecting to have to do. So I think this might do the trick. Yeah, that'll do the trick. Okay, that's that one. And then that's that one. And they shouldn't be, I didn't bend them that much, so there shouldn't be any risk of them breaking off. Let's just put this back in. Let's see here. Not quite doing what I wanted. See, it should. Let's see. I think the displaced plastic from it drilling through that. There, okay. Good to go. What was happening was that the displaced plastic from when I drilled through had gotten in the way and it was blocking the plug from plugging in, so I just had to kind of shift it out of the way a little bit, and then we're good. Okay, so we're good there. So then what we do so the other one I didn't even go into it. Okay, so now what we're doing here is putting, and I would definitely recommend doing this on your own setup, because one of the problems I've had with this thing is that it, let's see. The power supply is pretty loose in the mount. It's not that big of a deal, but I would like it to be tight. So then we're just going to screw screws into the holes that I just made. So we got to get this kind of lined up. I think that's good. Oh, come on, don't tell me I did something dumb. Okay. It's making life a little more complicated than I was expecting. This looks like I might have used a slightly larger let's see, can I do that? No. Looks like I used slightly larger of a drill bit than I had really wanted to. I thought that was the perfect size, too. Let's see here. That should work. work. Maybe not. I think I might have moved it around in there too much too. So I need one. Well, that sucks. And basically I need a size of screw that I think I don't have here. Okay, that'll work. Okay. Okay, I think we're good on that. Okay, I think that worked. So we're good there. As long as I didn't, yeah, nothing's out of whack. And I can clearly see that it did not come in contact with the circuit board. So we're good. I think I have it lined up exactly the way I want it lined up too. Bam. Okay, then we need one more of those. Go. That did not do what I wanted, but that's okay. So I may have to this isn't actually intended to work this way, obviously, so there's a few things that aren't quite perfect here. Okay, so that's good. So then what we do is we screw this to the underside of the case. It looks like I do have everything lined up just right, so I think we're good. So I'm just gonna, yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's any way I can actually show you guys me doing this. So I'll show you once I have it done, I'll show you guys what I did. Now this one, I may not do a permanently installed hard drive like I did on the other one. Okay. So that worked exactly the way I wanted. I think when I did this on the other one of these, I didn't pull the top off. And I think I had to try to figure out how to do what I'm doing now with the top still on it. so show you guys what I did here. So now the power supply is screwed to the underside of this thing. Bam, bam, bam. And on the other side, it's solidly in place. So if you do this the way this is set up, this is not solidly in place. Okay, so we're good there. I think the other one I did an optical drive, but this one doesn't need that. And I think instead of having a large hard drive, with this one, I'm going to actually have I'm going to use external drives on this one, so. Okay, so we're good to go. So then all I got to do is put this back on. Goes the other way. And you're good there. So now I'm just screwing the top platform back on like I did before. And then oh look, they did deliver the stuff. That is so weird. Okay then. And then the last thing, actually I totally forgot, is that the part? No, that's not the part. I'm looking for the, there we go. Okay, so this is for the liquid AIO. Now technically you can do this on either side. I kind of wanted it on a different side. So the other one has it on this side. I may have these things sitting side by side. And so I kind of want it on this side. But I don't know if any of my liquid coolers is long enough for me to want to run the tubing over the GPUs. That's my only problem with that. So I'm probably just going to have to deal so you screw the, if you're, well, I mean, I guess you don't have to do an AIO. You could do this. You could put a non-AIO. Oh, I think this isn't, I think this might be the wrong screw. That's the wrong screw. There must be a couple of longer screws here that I didn't realize I had. Let's see here. Or not. That's not good. Well, what the heck do they want you to do? Must be doing something wrong here. Well, it should be long enough. I guess not. Seems like it should be long enough. What the heck is going on here? Yeah, there must be a longer screw. Wonder if I'm missing something here, because I don't seem to have another... No. No. No, I think I am missing something. Because it looks like there's another longer screw for the AIO, so I'm gonna... Unless that was... No, those are mine. So I'm gonna have to see if I have a long screw long enough for that. I think... Let's see. You gonna fit? No. I'm gonna betcha dollars for days that these are some sort of stupid proprietary... Let's try that. One almost fits, but not quite. Yeah, all the ones I have are either... Oh, maybe that'll work. Okay. That might work. Let's see what that does. That didn't work. No, and no. That's not going to work either. This is very annoying. So it looks like what I'm going to have to use are screws originally intended for an AIO. So it looks like this uses the same threading as what I call hard drive sized threading. Let's see here. Bet you that might work. Yeah, I think that'll work. And let's see, do I have another one just like that? Yes, I do. Okay. Okay, I think we're back in business. Maybe I missed something, but as far as I can tell, I do not have the proper sized threading for this, or the proper length screw for this. But, as I said, always hold on to every screw that you get for exactly this reason. There's only so many screw threading sizes that are used. So eventually you'll have some crossover and you'll have some spare screws and stuff for situations like this where you might be missing something. Okay, so that effectively... Okay. So it's not quite as tight as I thought. I think we're good here. So that does that. So now we have a complete Praxis wet bench. Look at that, guys. Well, that took a little while longer than I expected. But I also wanted to give kind of a full overview of what I did with it too. So AIO will go on here. So it sits right there. This is just a standard case 240 or 280 mount. And then the tubing goes over. And then what I do is I order the AIO that I've got. The mounting bracket is very common and readily available. So every time I get another board, I just order another one of that mounting bracket and I just slap that on and I just leave them on the boards because then I can just have the board sitting in storage and anytime I want one, I just grab it, drop a board on there, bracket's already there, good to go. So anyway, that's part one. I will do the actual build as a second part. So thanks for watching.